We are all haunted. I don't mean we have specters floating around us, wiggling their hooves and going boogity boogity boo. I mean that our deeds and memories stay with us long after the fact. They drift away, then come back unexpectedly. My father, Ivory Mortis, a white earth pony with crossbones for cutie marks, told me at a young age what had happened to my mother. "You killed her, Equus," he said matter-of-factly. When tears began to dribble down my cheeks, my dad held up a hoof. "I don't mean that you meant to kill her. I'm simply saying that her heart gave out giving birth to you."
"Why?"
I hollered, my heart getting shoved into a bucket of nails.
"Why did Mama have to die?"
"Death is our life, my little Equus. That's our family motto. Death follows everyone, but people like us welcome that."
"I don't understand,"
I whimpered, wiping my nose. "You will in time. You will understand, as I now do, that life is full of inadequacies and prejudices. In death, everyone is equal. Your mother, my dear sweet Marrow, now walks with her ancestors, now sits at the right hoof of Nightmare Moon." Dad pulled a large leather book off a nearby shelf. When he opened it in his lap, the leather creaked. He showed me wood carvings of ponies in ancient ceremonial robes. "The Mortis family is very old. Over 1,000 years, in fact. We have always helped the living cope with the passing of loved ones with our skills as morticians. Over the centuries, we have branched out into similar fields. I helped the local Manhattan police with my skills as a coroner, for example." My tears forgotten for the moment, I asked,
"Really? You catch bad guys?"
Father smiled at me, proud of my curiosity. "No, Equus, not personally. Contrary to what certain pony dreadful crime magazines will tell you, we do not personally seek those that kill others. We stay in the background and let the real soldiers do the fighting. We clean up the mess the world leaves behind. That's all." Dad turned a page. There was another engraving of a pony that was spread-eagled and tied to a large table. Their wings were in a nearby bowl. Dark blotches dribbled where the ponies... No, the Pegasus wings and cutie marks used to be. As crude as the picture was, as lopsided as their perspective appeared to be, even I knew that those same robed ponies from the previous page were pulling this bound and tortured Pegasus apart. Pointing at the horrors, I asked,
"Dad, why are those ponies doing that?"
He looked at the drawing. A sentimental smile came and went. I almost missed it. Dad seemed lost in this scene's history. Looking at me, he thought for a moment. Even then, at a colt's age, I could tell that he was trying to put some kind of spin on the slaughter. Closing the book a bit suddenly, he said, "I'll tell you later, but only if you hoof swear never to tell anyone else what you saw." Father held up a hoof, waiting for me. I planted my right hoof in his and said,
"I, Equus Mortis, do hoof swear to never tell any pony about what I just saw."
Good at his word, he told me everything that book contained later. Much later. A week before he killed himself. A few days had passed since Dash's murder. Some pony named Gabby Gums ran an article in the Full Free Press naming me as the one who did the autopsy on her. Since it's illegal for me to spill anything about the case to anyone save the police, I had to keep quiet about what I saw. Some Rainbow Dash fans even demanded that I tell them who killed her. A few nose-to-nose confrontations like that, and I started to buy my groceries at night to avoid the crowds. While this miserable business was going on, I had gone over the toxicology reports with Flashbulb. There was an enormous amount of adrenaline in her blood. Rainbow Dash was kept awake during her torture and murder. She was probably forced to watch as her guts were getting ripped out. Something about that bugged me. I've heard Rainbow Dash yell in anger. If she was killed out in the open, the entire town would have heard her screaming and come running. She was killed somewhere with thick walls. Maybe even a cellar. There was one single pink pony hair that I found. Problem is, there are several pink ponies in this town. I had other work to do, so I couldn't keep track of the investigation. A city guard walked into the morgue as I was talking to Flashy. It was the same guard that woke me up the last time. For a brief moment, I thought there was another murder. "Come with me," the guard said. "Princess Celestia requests an audience with you." A request from any pony else would have resulted in a brush off "I'm too busy" from me. But when the most powerful being in the world wants a word with you, you comb your mane, pop a breath mint, and get into Celestia's sky chariot. I'm an earth pony. I'm not used to having my hooves leave the ground any longer than it takes for me to get out of bed. When the two Pegasus Castle guards pulled the chariot up and over Ponyville, I almost passed out. Dead bodies? Flying? I was hugging the floor and peeking over the edge, being careful not to look down. I saw that I was almost at the castle. These guys must have been told to double time getting me here. Once they landed in the courtyard, another pair of Pegasus guards hustled me into the princess's throne room. This was the first time I had ever been this close to royalty, but there was no time for sightseeing. I was escorted down the hallway to her throne. Massive stained glass windows filtered the light in a myriad of colors. The light that reflected off of Princess Celestia's multicolored mane and tail was just as beautiful. It was easy to see why most ponies worshipped her. She was the biggest equine in the country. Only her sister was as big, but she was exiled to the moon 1,000 years ago. Nightmare Moon, according to my father, was a giant among her loyal followers. Her white body seemed to radiate as she levitated what I recognized as my autopsy reports. Reading over them carefully, I suspect several times. She then passed them on to an assistant who trotted off. Celestia then looked at me. I could almost feel her gaze push over my skin. So I bowed. I had never done that with anyone.
Hello, Equus Mortis. I'm glad you came on such short notice.
Oh my. Even her voice glowed. I just wish I could have come here under more pleasant circumstances. Recalling my training as a mortician, I added, "I'm very sorry for your loss."
Thank you. You seem like a decent sort, in spite of what some ponies have told me about you. You mentioned in your report that Rainbow Dash was killed in a ritualistic fashion. What do you mean by that?
My ears twitched. There was an edge in her voice. Barely there, but still sharp. Well, cutting the cutie marks and wings off of a Pegasus reduces the identity of that Pegasus, making the victim seem more like an object than a person. She blinked, leaning forward.
Go on.
Well, serial killers have certain select ways to kill their victims. Rituals, if you will.
Where do you suppose these monsters get these rituals?
She handed me that question as if it were a soap bubble that I didn't dare pop. Well, history isn't pretty. Maybe somebody sick in the head got some ideas by reading about the war between you and Nightmare Moon. Princess Celestia regarded me for another moment before leaning back. I felt as if a hoof had been lifted off my neck.
Perhaps you are right.
She said. She looked down, her ears dropping.
I hope you are. For I need you to talk to someone who might have studied our ancient history.
Who's that?
Rainbow Dash's killer.
If a tornado had blown through the courtroom, it might have knocked me over faster than this news, but I doubt it. What? She frowned.
Don't you read the newspaper? The news hit the Ponyville Express this morning.
I've been keeping a low profile. Ponies have been getting in my face about the autopsy.
I doubt that's an issue anymore. I'm sending you to Manhattan's Kirkbridle Institute. That's where they're keeping her.
I thought of the pink hair I found, and the fact that only some pony close could have gotten the drop on Dash. I was almost afraid to ask. It's Pinkie Pie, isn't it? She nodded.
Yes, I'm afraid so. Take the next train to Manhattan, talk to Pinkie, get everything you can from her.
I don't want to seem obtuse or you help me disobedient, but why are you sending me? I deal with dead people, not the killers that make them.
Don't sell yourself short. You know more than you're letting on.
I don't know what you mean. She got up from her throne and walked towards me. It took every scrap of willpower I had to keep from running out of the castle screaming like a filly. Those long white legs filled most of my vision. She stopped in front of me and loomed like a snowy mountain over me.
When you requested a transfer from Manhattan to Ponyville, I was unconcerned. That is, until I was informed about your father. I'm an avid student of history, Equus Mortis. I know about your family's loyalty.
I swallowed. Crud. So much for keeping secrets. She smiled. Just a little. But it made my heart pound a little less.
I'm certain that you will find out everything I need to know. Your loyalty is to me, is it not?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, Your Majesty.
Good. Guards?
2 Pegasus guards stepped up.
Escort Mr. Mortis to the Ponyville train station. Send him on the next train to Manhattan.
She turned back to her throne as I was led out of the courtroom. My mind was buzzing in a dozen different directions, so even the next Sky Chariot's travel to the train station didn't faze me. Pinkie Pie. Rainbow Dash's murderer. The last time I dealt with anything that bizarre was when I visited my father. He was still staying in the same apartment I grew up in. When I unlocked the front door, I saw him in a huge pool of his own blood. He had sliced his legs open and had cut off his crossbones cutie marks. While Ivory was bleeding out, he had drawn an ancient symbol on the living room floor. It was a crescent shape, with a crude unicorn head drawn into one side. A portrait of the living goddess of the night my family once worshipped. He had been dead for hours, and it took me hours to stop crying, even after the police arrived. That's why I fought to get transferred to Ponyville. I wanted to go somewhere quieter, to live in a town that would be kinder than Manhattan, where ponies aren't ripped apart, where fathers don't end themselves. Death follows us all, but why? Oh, why does death have to follow so close to me? I tried to shake off this self-pity as I waited for the Manhattan train. I bought a newspaper that screamed the headline, Pinkie Pie, Killer of Rainbow Dash. It would take hours to get to the city, and I had plenty of time to read. We are all haunted. My ghost is my father, who I still find myself yelling at in the darkest, loneliest moments of my solitary life. And now, I was going to visit someone who had a much larger ghost than I.